Hey guys, welcome back! I have not stopped looking around this island since last episode because now we have both of the main temples in place, it really feels like this is starting to come together and I am loving it. I love that you can stand up here and see the full slime temple with the moon above it and turn around and see all of the witch temple. And I love that as you walk down the stairs of the slime temple, the top of the witch temple slowly comes into view, really giving the island a proper sense of both length and size. But we can't stand around all day just looking around the island. We have plenty more work to be getting on with. And today, as I mentioned last time, I really want to build the nether portal because even though this project isn't a million miles away from my base, it would be nice for the trip to be a little quicker. Or well, 8 times quicker, I suppose. So when we were laying out the signs for where we want the different things to go, we said about putting the portal here because it feels like the sort of thing that would be quite central to an island like this, both for the ease of access, but also because it makes for a nice focal point for a central square or plaza kind of thing, which, considering both temples have their own courtyards, just feels very fitting. So I think it's time we clear out a little bit more space and see about building this portal. You know, for such a relatively small build, this actually took probably an embarrassingly long time for me to get the design right on this, but I absolutely love this whole thing now. I guess first let's talk a bit about the plaza itself, and it's quite different from the two temple courtyards, both in its shape being square instead of rectangular, but also in terms of its design. I didn't want to keep the sort of checkerboard design for this central square because it felt like it should have quite a distinctive feel, and also I felt like it deserved to have a bit of a more ornate kind of design. After all, anyone who is coming to this sacred site would have this as their first impression, and so having a slightly grander feel just felt right. And this floor went through many design variations because I really wasn't quite sure how to approach it, but then when I was just messing around in creative one day, this sort of not quite Celtic, but I guess kind of knotted kind of pattern just came to me and it feels so perfect for this place. In fact, I think I want to use this sort of design elsewhere in the island too, and I have a bit of an idea for that, but that'll have to wait a couple of episodes before we can properly tackle that. But then in terms of the portal itself, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've really done a proper nether portal design. I mean, obviously we have a bit of one back home with the nether island in the lake, which I do love, but having this bigger portal, well, I mean, I guess it's technically 3 portals, is very new to me, but I love it. With the scale of the buildings we're working with here, it didn't feel right to just keep a standard nether portal size, so I definitely wanted the sort of larger portal, and I wanted it to have a more monumental kind of design. And easily one of my favourite things about this is the way that the portal gets split up into these 4 different spaces when you look at it. When I first started designing this, knowing I wanted this larger design, I kept running into an issue with the portal blocks themselves just feeling quite bland and boring, but adding these small portals on either side really brought this to life and added a level of detail that I think it really needed. And I also really wanted both the floor and the portal to kind of symbolize the two sides of the island coming together, hence using the deep slate and the stone for the floor design to show them both working with each other, and also having the smaller portals of the respective color palettes facing the right temple, and then having the tuff as sort of like a buffer because it does feel like a bit of a midpoint, although obviously the deep slate is much darker, so it's not a perfect marriage, but I think it does work when you look at it from the side. It does create a bit of a bridge. But building this portal is of course only part of the job, so now we need to head to the nether roof and hope that we can link some portals. And I think this is pretty much the center of our portal. It is unfortunately incredibly close to our portal to the end, so I'm hoping this is still going to work. And let's see if this links. Yes! Okay, we got here, and if we go back... Oh, that actually seems to be working. I was so worried that this portal was going to completely mess with us. I honestly didn't even realize we were that close to our stronghold. But that seems to work perfectly. Oh, okay. This is fantastic. Oh, I am so happy. Okay, I guess now we just need to actually design our portal on the nether roof. And I think that will do it. A nice smaller version of our portal on the island, which I think should hopefully line up correctly. So if we go through with the deep slate behind us, the deep slate portal is indeed behind us, so that should hopefully make it relatively easy to orient ourselves when coming through the portal, which is always brilliant. I love being able to face the right direction when going through a portal, because otherwise it can drive me nuts. But with our portal complete, making my life an awful lot easier and hopefully lowering the number of rockets I waste on a daily basis, there is another small project I want to tackle today, and that is over there on that hill. I think I briefly mentioned before that this little dip right here has really got my mind going, and I've been trying to think what would look good here to go along with our smaller slime temple building, which is going to be right here. And I think I've got a nice little area designed now, so I think it's probably about time that we spruce this whole area up a bit. doesn't this place just feel so calming? Ever since we built the little garden by the side of the witch temple, I've wanted to do more places like that where little bits of the finer detail start popping up. And I say start popping up because obviously as much as this little patch is now pretty detailed and lovely, the surrounding areas aren't quite as detailed. Even the little slime temple hasn't got all the bits of greenery and such around it that it will when it's done, but I quite like having very defined parameters when doing things like this, as otherwise I'll very quickly get overwhelmed by the size of this island, so we've done the detail here, and eventually this whole island will be just as detailed. But I'm getting off track. This area, as I mentioned, is just another little space like the garden where we're starting to get a bit more detail and life come in. So we have the little pond and the slightly overgrown feeling with all the grass and ferns, and another lovely little tree which I really quite like. Obviously, we used much bigger trees in the other garden, but I felt like having a tree that size would be quite overpowering here, especially since it's kind of in front of the slime temple. So I like having this slightly smaller design, which feels like it fits just right. And then, of course, just next to this, we have our smaller offering type building, which, as with the temple, is a very similar design to the building on the witch side, but using the more mossy, stony colour palette and also feeling much more weathered. Obviously, we saw little bits of erosion when building the temple last time, but age and weather will affect these smaller buildings much more noticeably, and this building is really starting to look a bit worse for wear. I mean, part of the roof is caved in, and many of the corners seem to be slowly getting rounded off by the wind and rain, but at least for now, it's still pretty structurally sound, and I do have to say, I love this ruined vibe. I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but it just brings a certain atmosphere which I really, really like. And man, when you stand back here and look just at this little corner, I think you can really start to get an idea of how this whole place will hopefully look when we're done, and boy, I can't wait to keep working on this project. I still have so many ideas and things to design, and I am loving every minute of it. But unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to leave it there for today. But we did make some huge progress. Building this portal is possibly the biggest quality of life upgrade we could have ever done today, and I love the little pond area. It just all helps remind me what my goal is for this place, and that is all the motivation that I need. But next time is going to be something a little bit different. You see, I realised that next episode will be episode 50 of this series. I know, episode 50! The time has flown, and we have achieved so much in that time, and I think next episode will be a little celebration of everything we have done in this world, so I hope you're looking forward to that. But until then, thank you guys for watching, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!